is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod. I'm
Three goals.
Jimmy, as always, with my good buddy, Dan Kooser. We got a victory pod, my friends. Dan, how does it feel to be back with yet another victory pod?
Feels too long ago. I don't really remember what happened, man. This is Wednesday right now. The holiday messed us up.
It did.
And I'm like, damn, when was the game? You know, it's almost time for the next one.
Yeah, it does feel a little weird because we are recording later than we don't, like 2 days later than we normally would. And we're going to try to release this tonight as soon as we can. We'll see.
People are clamoring for it, probably.
Yeah. I hope that you all had a safe and happy 4th of July. Didn't set your houses on fire. If you did, I'm sorry. But
you were you outside, or you just you got a little red face going on?
That's probably, see, my ring light broke.
Oh.
So my lighting setup's different.
So okay, all right.
Yeah, I was outside a little bit, but I put on that SPF 70 plus.
SPF 7000
like every hour. And you should see, I turned to Brittany at one point this weekend and I was like, you think they make like water tights I could put on underneath my swimsuit? And she was like, why would you want that? I was like, that way my legs won't get sunburned.
Yeah.
So
could I just
like, at this point you just want a full body wetsuit.
Yeah. Could I just get a bodysuit, please? And I'll hang out by the pool.
I'd do it, man.
Get a mask,
I'm saying I look, function over fashion when it comes to not getting sunburned.
All right, listen, I always do the sunscreen, but I don't ever reapply because I can't really do the sun more than an hour anyways. If I'm in the pool, bro, I'll get seasick in this goddamn swimming pool.
Yeah, I got a real bad sunburn, like, I don't know, almost 10 years ago now when we went to Florida. Reapplied every 90 minutes, thought we were doing great. Turns out sunscreen can expire. Didn't know that until I basically was in the Florida sun all day with essentially no sunscreen. So now I'm a sunscreen expert.
How long expired was it?
I don't know, but we probably bought it like 2 or 3 years prior, and we just found it. We're like, oh, we still got sunscreen. Let's use this up before we go spend $15 on another bottle. Nope, don't do that.
Spices can do that too, man. Spices like lose their potency and nutritional value. Is that right?
Something like that. I mean, this is what people come to us for on this podcast.
Hey, for Sam's Club Spice Bowl, that's what you talk about. Be careful.
But before we jump into the game, we do have I can speak. We do have a review that we want to read. So you want to go ahead and read that for our good listeners?
Yeah, man, check this out. We got I'm doing a podcast here with Red Jimmy, but the guy who left the review is Orange Eric. That's right, Orange Eric.
Orange Eric.
Eric says, rough season, still great podcast, 5 stars. Love the show, guys. I look forward to it every week. He wanted to give his 2 cents on the Shelton topic. I love this. Why wouldn't you go leave a review to say something about something we speak about quite regularly, it seems?
Give your thoughts.
Eric says, we have endured a season of subpar performances by Shelton already. He doesn't thrive in any position. He's not a good possessor, passer, or scorer. He's just a big athletic guy to throw out in a pinch. Is that really the best option we have at this point? I think that is what people are booing about. We know he isn't going to score, make a big pass, or anything that will make a positive impact on the game. He doesn't have an upside. The fact that he is being thrown in at all these positions is more of a poor reflection of Vermees's judgment and strategy. It's so frustrating for us fans to be down in a game 2-1 and we bring Shelton on. That's like conceding defeat before the game is over. Lol. Anyway, rant over. I don't think these comments are news to anyone. Eric, first of all, thanks for leaving a review, man. You took time. You typed some shit out. Thank you so much. It means the world to us. It's something so silly, really matters to me. But to say all that stuff about Shelton, I don't really disagree. It's unfortunate, right? I don't know. It's a Peter thing, though. It's Peter's issue here.
Sure. And the only thing I'll say, again, people have seen my tweets, and I would call them meager defenses of Shelton because I've been open that there are very valid criticisms of his play, of his contract, of his salary. I don't think paying him 600 some odd thousand is the best use of those funds. So I'm conceding all those points. The only thing I will still say, and I don't want to beat a dead horse over and over again, is Shelton really our best option at this point? Sometimes he was, if for no other reason than there are a lot of people that were hurt. Alan Pulido was hurt and Willie Agata both got hurt at the same time. That wasn't
True.
really expected. Caden Pierre got hurt and Graham Zusi got hurt at the same time. That wasn't really expected. We kind of thought Pulido might be the backup right winger to Johnny Russell. Then Johnny Russell gets hurt. That wasn't really expected. So now you
Not
could
Pulido.
say
You said Pulido. You didn't mean that.
Johnny Russell, and then he
You
got
said
hurt on.
Pulido as a backup to Johnny.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Kyrie should be the backup to Johnny. And so then
Mhm.
Johnny gets hurt and then Kyrie has to go in and start on the right wing sometimes. So it's now you could argue that Peter is relying on older aging players too much, which I think is a valid discussion to have. So
That's valid.
I
Yeah.
just, I still think it's a little tough to boo Kyrie right off the bat, but we've had that discussion. I get the people's frustrations are valid with the product on the field, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. If you have a better product on the field, which they did against Vancouver, then a lot of these discussions don't have to happen.
Yeah, I mean, in these moments, like it is like who is the better option? Like who do you pick? And it's like, okay, Steven Afrifa. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, I mean, maybe he doesn't have that trust or fitness where Peter wants to throw
Right.
him out there. Like we don't know what trainings are looking like, right? What everyone's
Mhm.
if someone's dealing with a knock and not quite ready to go into a full-on game. But dude, Kyrie's a beast when he's in there. He does,
I mean,
he's strong. I like to watch him,
what I think the better discussion is, quite honestly, isn't, oh, Kyrie's so bad. It is, as was pointed out by a number of people on Twitter and on a couple of articles written recently, is Sporting KC's academy hasn't really produced consistent quality prospects that have broken into the first team in a meaningful way in a
unless
number of
you're
years.
Unless you're going down, checking out SKC2, dropping touchdowns on motherfuckers. They are insanely good, bro.
Sure, but there have been times when SKC2 has been good, and it's not for lack of signing players. Tons of academy prospects get signed to the first team, but since Gianluca Buzio, has there been an academy prospect that's really made much of a difference in the first team? Wilson Harris has been signed. Jake Davis is the one now, I guess you could say. Jake Davis is making a huge impact with the first team, but I mean, that's one every 4 years, 5 years. Buzio made his debut back in 2018. So if you have a better academy system churning out quality prospects that Peter can trust, then you don't have to end up with Kyrie Shelton at right back, which isn't his natural position. And that's where I think that criticism is valid, but booing Kyrie when he comes in, I don't think gets that point across.
Yeah,
So,
I don't, I'll never like the booing of a certain person. Maybe we're booing Peter, but it's like, you know what? Let's try to stay a little positive and see what happens.
sure.
Let's see what happens because this team as a whole right now is not being helped or hurt by Kyrie Shelton right now. We are a very inconsistent team altogether. Like, I don't know who we are, dude. We'll go lose or draw a game and then come smack a pretty decent Vancouver team right in the face.
Sure. And there were the plays that people will point to. Oh, Kyrie was directly involved in keeping Vela offside. Sure. Yes. Or onside, I should say. But there were other he had a one part to play in multiple breakdowns and in plays like that. So it is tough. But hey, Orange Eric from Red Jimmy, we appreciate the review. Please, by all means, keep sending us your thoughts, your takes within the 5-star reviews that you leave. We appreciate it. We'll read them. And well, it sparked a good discussion. And it brought me to Gianluca Buzio, who just scored his first ever goal for the U.S. men's national team in the Gold Cup and is having a hell of a tournament.
USA's having some fun with folks right now. I bet they kind of regret the draw against Jamaica, right?
Yeah, you would think. Well, maybe Jesus Ferreira. He didn't become the pirate of the Caribbean yet at that point, where he's just been pillaging these island nations.
We're not going to call he little pirate angel. Is that
that's what portions of Twitter that I probably don't want to identify with have been calling Jesus Ferreira over the Gold Cup. So
it's weird. It's certainly weird. Hey, these games are in America, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it so awful? Like the environment and the atmosphere and the fans.
You talking about the chant?
I'm talking about the chant. I'm talking about like physical altercations. You hear about that stuff in other countries. You don't really hear it all that much here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's an easy answer, and I think a lot of the answers sometimes can lean a little bit too much into like stereotypes, but I think really what it comes down to is some of these other countries, the culture around football or soccer is just different. Like it means so much to some of them that like it literally in some cases does become right or wrong, and it's very wrong, a life or death situation for people depending on what happens on the field. Referees are threatened with their lives or fights are breaking out because this has just been ingrained in the culture as so much more a part of their society, the game of soccer. And that's not really how it is here. So, over time, hopefully that part gets weeded out and then you just cultivate the good parts of the supporter culture, because I think there's a lot for US fans to learn from how other teams rally around their clubs, whether good or bad. But yeah, I mean, there, like you said, there have been fights at some of the games. There's the chant that CONCACAF continues to not do anything about that happens at the Mexico games. And I mean, there's never a shortage of something happening when it comes to CONCACAF.
Yeah, I don't really get it, and I'm like, what? Then why do we support it? Why do we watch it? It just seems like a trash situation. You hear all these stories. That wasn't someone caught on camera like just holding a knife.
I didn't hear about that one, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I saw a still image and someone was like, "Bro, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you will get found out."
Yeah,
Like, bro, that's like calling in sick to work and then getting caught on TV at like an event.
Did you see Mayor Quentin Lucas's tweet about the Taylor Swift?
That's what made me think about that. Yes,
There was a fan going to a Taylor Swift concert somewhere who apparently called out of work sick, but was being interviewed on TV at a Taylor Swift concert that day. So this person put a blanket over their entire body and just had glasses over the blanket.
100% looking like cousin It from freaking Addams Family.
Oh, man. So anyway, I mean, like you said,
Did it again.
the U. For those of you watching, Dan handled some jalapenos.
I don't know what I'm doing. Why
And
do
that's
I
not a
itch my
euphemism.
itchy eye?
It's not a euphemism, the jalapenos, and then he keeps touching his eye. So
Stupid, dude. That's what I get. That's what I get for making great food.
but the U.S., let's call it like it is. It's the B team, arguably maybe even a B minus C plus team for the U.S.
Sure.
that's in this Gold Cup, but they're dominating, and that's what you want them to do. So
They are dominating. It is fun to see. Why is it a B team?
I mean, because it's not the most talented players that we have available. Do you mean like why didn't they call on the most talented players, or why European preseasons are starting back up again? Players are being transferred, so they had a lot of the European players, Gio Reyna, Brendan Aronson, Weston McKennie, all of them, Christian Pulisic, Balogun, for the Nations League, but then they all started going back to their clubs, Timothy Weah, to play in preseason and or get transferred in some of their cases. So
gotcha. It's everything I can think that Sporting's going to do the same kind of thing with the Leagues Cup,
Yeah.
Even though Peter keeps mentioning it, Peter keeps sliding it into conversation. He's like, we got to get ready for Leagues Cup. And I'm like, motherfucker, you ain't going to get ready for the Leagues Cup. You're calling up SKC2 people.
The only reason I actually think he might is because there is such a break in the schedule that league play is essentially stopping for Leagues Cup.
Good point.
So if he wants players like Alan Pulido or Johnny Russell or Daniel Shallowy to remain in game shape, he might have no choice but to play him, which is probably why MLS and Liga MX decided to do it this way, because you see what happens with the Open Cup when they're like, I'm going to play C teamers.
That's the point. You're right. That's probably right. And I think that I don't trust Peter anymore now that I hear that Alan Pulido transfer rumors are still kicking up. And I'm like, everyone's just lying to us. Bro, media doesn't matter. Peter will lie to your face. He's done it before. Yeah. He will do it again. Like, you can only write what you're told. So you're writing a bunch of lies.
I expect you to come back from whenever we take our first break just with like a tinfoil cone hat. Everybody's lying to us. Media doesn't matter,
bro. It's fake news, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Sporting Kansas City has been known to cover up stories before that they didn't want out yet. It was funny. Alan Pulido had to leave right after the Vancouver game. He was going to a concert. But
Yeah.
he
Some
didn't.
guy that has like more followers than Alan does.
Yeah, but it was funny because, Alan had a good game. There's all these rumors that are circulating about Chivas or the LA Galaxy. That's not happening or whatnot. And it was funny because we come down to the locker room and they're like, sorry, Alan's not here. He's going to this concert. And they were like, we promise, like, this was a pre-planned thing. Like, nothing weird is happening. This is totally above board. We're not hiding anything. He just legitimately has this concert he has to go to. So
Now, there were photos to prove that,
yeah.
but there also are no photos to prove that talks are not happening for him to go back home,
Oh, I'm sure talks are happening. But hey,
Sad
agent
deal.
ploy to negotiate. We'll see. I mean, he's allowed as of now. I had this as a discussion point later, but he's allowed as of now to sign a pre-contract. He hasn't done it yet. So who knows?
Because that'll
Maybe
be made public if he does.
Yeah, I'm sure the club would announce it.
Yeah.
There'd be no incentive to not announce it. But
Dude, does that mean you lose him on like a free transfer? That's free.
No. He still has to play out the rest of his contract with
I know,
Sporting KC.
but once he does,
But then
free.
his contract's done and then he can just go. Yeah. So that's why there were the rumors that do sell him now and get something for him, but then you're really punting on the season. I still think there is a non-zero chance he wants to stay in Kansas City, and this is a negotiation tactic because Sporting KC,
a what? Non-zero chance?
A non-zero chance that he wants to stay here in Kansas City, and this is a negotiation tactic because
says it like that. What does that mean?
You ever heard like it's not a 0% chance. There is some percent chance that he stays here.
There's something.
I just don't know what it is. No,
Okay.
I mean it's something, but
okay.
Sporting KC probably, I don't have any inside information on this. They probably want to negotiate him to a deal where they could buy him off of a DP contract with TAM if they could.
Yeah.
And so I think that caps out like $1.7 million. And he's probably trying to negotiate where he's like, well, Chivas is willing to pay me 2.2. So let's get that. So I'm sure it's a song and dance.
Wild, man. Just wild.
Well, we have a whole game to get into. Do you want to take a break before we get into that game?
Break it, baby.
Let's do it. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
I need you to know something real quick.
Okay.
I'm cooking this elote bowl for dinner.
Ooh, some street corn.
Delicious. And as I'm frying up the chickpeas, trying to harden those up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have read later because it said to put the lid on the skillet so these chickpeas don't go everywhere. Buddy, it was a goddamn war zone.
Like popcorn?
Bro, chickpeas were going boom, boom, boom. One hits me in the freaking forehead. One burns me on the forearm. I'm getting them. It's getting on my laptop, streaming Disney Plus over here. I got chickpeas all over. My dog comes down and I go, you don't want any part of this. And he turns around and leaves. And so then when I did the same to the corn, I was like, lid, because it was so bad.
Well, I hope it tastes good.
No, it was delicious. But I probably wasted a good amount of chickpeas that went all over the floor.
At least it tastes good. That's the part that matters.
We're all just faking this thing we call adult life. We're all just trying to get through it. We go to work every day, and we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
No, fake it till you make it. It's a real
100%. It rhymes.
Best advice someone gave me.
Yes.
Let's talk about this game against Vancouver. This was, like you mentioned at the start of the pod, it had been a little bit since a win. We had a series of disappointing results. Probably should have got a win, at least some amount of points against LAFC. Then the disappointing result, the draw that kind of felt like a loss, but also felt like you kind of got lucky against the LA Galaxy. And then the very disappointing home loss to the Chicago Fire 1-0. That was just a disaster. So this was kind of a bounce back game for Sporting KC. And they had a pretty, as much of a first choice lineup as you could possibly hope for at this point. Shallowy, Pulido, Russell, Gadi Kinda, Nemanja Radoja, Remy Voltaire, Tim Leibold, Andrea Fontes, Danny Rosero, Jake Davis in front of Kendall McIntosh. Davis arguably first choice right back now, although Zusi and Pierre might have something to say. And then obviously Tim's out for another little bit. this is it. This is really it. So,
Dude, we were firing, man. This team, this lineup is first choice, and we were looking like it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was the worst defeat Vancouver's had all season.
Yes.
They don't like that. That's not going to be good for their morale going back home, you know.
Yeah.
But dude, I also read, I'm actually reading it right now, Vermees fielded his 20th unique lineup in 24 games.
I mean, that's not surprising.
That is wild, dude.
It's
for a man
wild,
who is
but
known for his consistency, he has not been able to have consistent lineups every week.
No, because there's been some piece somewhere injured or suspended or squad rotation due to schedule congestion or something.
Oh, yeah.
So, but this is, you know what I love though about where we're getting? And he said after this game, he was like, I kind of want us to be healthy by the Leagues Cup. You look at the bench now and you have a really solid 11 that's starting. And then you look at the bench and you see people like Eric Tommy, Marino Janice, Logan and Denbe, even Felipe Hernandez, Roger Espinoza, dare I say Kyrie Shelton. I'm okay with those as the bench pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I like where this team is going. As I've said before, it's confusing because sometimes you look at the lineup they put out and you're like, this team should dominate, and they don't, like what happened against Chicago. But it feels like maybe, dare I say, we might be trending back in the right direction.
I mean, it's dude, ebbs and flows, right? And we were not doing well those last 3 games. Just not the team we've been seeing that kind of squeezed back into that playoff conversation. But we can get back there. It's just going to take some results here.
Mm-hmm.
This was that first step. I mean, to see Remy Voltaire get on the board, to see Alan do another Alan thing, you know, only his 8th, you know, that man.
Player of the month.
He's either scoring or assisting in some, you know, he's contributing in some fashion to goals.
Healthy.
Yeah.
He's healthy.
And then Eric Tommy coming in and arguably stealing a goal from Johnny Russell, but that's another conversation.
Well, Johnny looks like there's still some rust on him. He's still working his way back. I
just think it feels that way, right? And it's like, okay, my stat is kind of out the window, and I was like, we have not done well with Johnny in the lineup. So I'm glad that was crunched.
Yeah.
This episode of No Other Pod.
Yeah, it's I mean, the first, I would say 15, 20 minutes, it felt like Sporting was still feeling out Vancouver. They looked like it wasn't bad. It was just like, okay, nobody's really doing all that much. We're kind of figuring out what we want to do here. And then they started to look a little bit better on the 20-minute mark. And then it was in the 32nd or 33rd minute, I guess it was, where Gadi Kinda gets the ball about at midfield, drives almost the length of the field toward the 18-yard line, and then in true Chris Wright fashion, a little bit of a outside of the foot chip right past the Vancouver defender to Remy Voltaire, who then himself just chips it nicely. A little touch right over the Vancouver goalkeeper. 1-0 Sporting KC.
I would like to point out that Danny Rosero almost had what we could have called a golazo moments before this goal.
True.
That man chested a ball down and then volleyed it towards goal.
Yes.
And it had pace. If it was lower, that puppy's going in. And I was like, that's my center back, man. Danny Rosero. Danny Rosero is a man's man, by the way. You ever seen that man up close?
No, he is built.
You been like near him?
Yes. I've been in the locker room, trust me.
Yeah, it's wildly intimidating just to like be near this dude.
He is. He's also a very nice dude. He's always smiling and dapping you up and saying hi. So
he daps you up?
Yeah.
I want to get dapped up.
Well, come with me.
All right, I'll be there. Y'all stay late. I gotta drive a little bit.
That's true. Well, so do I. I wonder who's farther. Probably me.
No, you're not farther.
To Lee Summit?
How many miles?
It's like 40 some odd miles.
That's more than me.
That's what I'm saying. I'm farther.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. That's less than me.
You're right. Thank you. Moving on.
All right, we'll get to
but this touch from Gadi Kinda and then just Remy Voltaire to be able to chip it but not send it over the goal. This was Voltaire's first goal of the season. Also, I have to imagine he's hurting because He was as red as Bob the Tomato from VeggieTales after apparently falling asleep by the pool for 3 hours with no sunscreen. Speaking of sunscreen, so he was super sunburned, but you couldn't tell playing the game when he's putting that goal away.
Exactly. You are 36 miles from the park.
Well,
the city of Lee Summit is. I am 57.
Okay.
So
I'm
there's
glad
that.
we settled that.
Had to be done. We can't let the podcast go on. Let it be known. Mark it.
Okay, we're good. I'm glad we settled that. But yeah, happy for Remy. Got that first goal. This team, I'm not trying to jinx it, but this team does, I mean, it's just stating the obvious, so much better when they score first. Like, it's just playing from behind was not working from this team for so long because the morale just sank out of them if they let up a goal first. When they can score a nice goal like that and go take the lead early in the game, much better.
Look, when you're watching soccer or any sport, really, you love a good reason to get on your feet, stretch your legs. Baseball's got the 7th inning stretch. Well, sporting likes to score 3 times and give you a chance to stretch your legs.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun, man.
Well, and I was fully prepared to go into the half 1-0 and be like, okay, 1-0, it's all good. This is a good start. Come back out, maybe double it up and call it good. And then there was 6 minutes of stoppage time in the first half because crazy stuff was happening. And
wait, hold on, what happened?
Wasn't it Kendall who got?
Oh yeah, Kendall got bandaged like a World War I victim.
Dude, his eye was swollen.
Was it bad?
Game. Oh yeah,
they had like a cloth bandage on him, like like nurses give them in the war.
He said they stitched him up on the field.
What? They gave him sutures?
They had to put stitches in him on the field. That's why he was laying down there for so long. Of course, it was not it was not even a foul. Not only was it not called a foul, it was not called a yellow card. It was not called anything. And the Vancouver player, in my mind, made no legitimate attempt to jump over Kendall McIntosh. He just shin right to the forehead.
Yeah, and in that point, you can't go, as that player, you can't go apologize because then you're kind of admitting that you fouled the dude.
Yeah.
And as a referee, that sucks so hard because you're like, oh, he's clearly cut open. I fucked up. Like, I missed the call, obviously.
Yeah, you would think. But the referee was very poor this whole game. I'm glad that that's not going to be
evergreen, bro.
The discussion that we have because Sporting KC was able to overcome it. But again, consistently inconsistent. The pro story.
If you're going to have a terrible strike zone, better have it for every game you umpire.
I just wish if the strike zone was like terrible but consistent, it's like, oh, he always calls it way outside. That'd be one thing. But it's like, no, that pitch was a strike. The next pitch, the exact same pitch as the ball, but then it's an inside strike. It's no consistency.
It makes no sense, dude. These refs are they got a hard job. They really do. I wouldn't want to do it.
I do not. Apparently I do it because as you do, Zach is here on Twitter pointed out, I was also doubling as the assistant referee on the sideline.
You do have some family in town. That's true. I feel that it shouldn't be to the point. It shouldn't be so bad that when a referee does a good job, you notice and you like mention it. You're like, wow, what a good referee tonight.
Right.
Like that happens. It's because it's so rare.
Yeah. If the ref's not the story, it's a good night. So
yeah,
that's good. But there was 6 minutes because Kendall McIntosh almost got decapitated on the field.
Oh my God.
And then this was a nice little pass from Tim Leibold right across, first time off his left foot, right across the face of goal, teeing up Daniel Shallowy perfectly for his first goal of the game. Who misses it? But Alan Pulido is right there to clean it up and send it home to make it 2-0.
Insane, dude. I'm also liking our outside back situation. I'm a Tim Leibold guy. And I'm also I'm also a Baby Jake Davis guy. I like him. See he's out there. Baby Jake's out there modeling freaking jerseys at Worlds of Fun.
Captain America.
Why do I hate these? I want to like it because it's two of my favorite things joined into one. I'm a freaking Marvel dork and I'm a sporting dork, and you're putting this together. The only cool part about it is that it doesn't say Compass Minerals on the front. I mean, we're one of the few teams that don't have a jersey sponsor on that shirt.
That was true. I almost would have, if they're going to do like a Marvel warm-up, I almost rather they would have just taken like the Captain America costume and just like turned the torso into a warm up, and it just would have been like straight up Captain America.
Ooh.
It was the shield pattern over and over. I don't know, but
It's just a pattern, dude. You could have just, it's something you can make in like Microsoft Word or some shit.
yeah. But you're right. Tim Leibold had a fantastic game. He played 85 minutes. He's getting closer and closer to full fitness. Peter said after the game, he's not yet fully fit. He called it out, but
Do you think Tim's like, the hell you say? That's bullshit. I feel fine.
Tim was great. It's funny. Tim and Eric Tommy, they're both German, and they both come across as very German, just very buttoned up, straight, attentive when you're interviewing them. And it's just such a different vibe than like Johnny or Daniel Shallowy when you're interviewing them. They're all good, but like Tim and Eric Tommy are both like, yes, that is 100% accurate. I would say the same thing. And Daniel and Johnny are just out there having a great time goofing off. It's just a different vibe.
Different vibe, bro. I can see that. Very I don't know, got their shit together.
But Tim, with his German efficiency, takes one perfect touch off his left foot, sends it across the face of goal. Daniel probably should have got there, but this is, again, runners in the box. This is why you have multiple people crash the goal, crash into the box at different lines. So if Daniel can't get there, Alan Pulido's there to clean it up and score the goal.
Runners in the box, man. I like that. It's something we don't see all the time. And we didn't fire a billion shots from outside the box this game.
Mm-hmm.
We literally corrected it from the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Absolutely.
You love to see that.
And you didn't see just hopeful crosses sent in trying to find somebody's head in the box, just praying that somebody's going to get there. That's not what happened. It was 16 shots, but the attacking was much more direct for Sporting KC. They were putting the ball into dangerous situations and hoping that things could happen, whether it's multiple runners in the box and scoring the way they did, or Gadi Kinda having a brilliant little through ball and a moment of brilliance to Remy Voltaire, or like what happened after halftime in the 53rd minute where Daniel Shallowy gets a good run into the box, toe pokes it toward the Vancouver keeper, who just kind of punches it back toward the penalty spot. And this is where Johnny Russell probably was going to curl this inside the far post, but Eric Tommy gets there first, makes it 3-0 Sporting KC, and the rest is history.
Exactly. I don't care who hits that. Someone has to. Let's get a quick appreciation clap for the weather, bro. It's July 1st, and I was like, this is as good as it can get for July in Kansas. I was very comfortable.
Yeah, it was great. The team looked comfortable. Eric Tommy puts that ball away. It's 3-0. And, 2-0, I think I texted you at halftime, and you're like, feeling pretty good. And you were like, well, it's the most dangerous lead in soccer. And then just give it 7 minutes after the start of the second half. Eric Tommy makes it 3-0. Probably could have ended 4-0, 5 even. I mean, they look good, and they had other chances. But, hey, I will take a 3-0 win any day of the week. And it puts them back within one spot of Vancouver, or 1 point, I should say, of Vancouver, who's sitting in the last playoff spot. So this was a huge game in terms of making sure that Sporting Kansas City is putting themselves in a position to earn that playoff spot. Because if we would have been down 4 points with Vancouver having played 3 less games instead of just the 1 point, it's a totally different conversation we're having right now.
Yeah, man. And we got to keep going. I mean, we've also played 3 more games than Vancouver has, which is just like, you've heard about people having a game in hand, not 3 games in hand, bro.
3's a lot.
Are they playing this evening on Wednesday? Is that?
Let me look. I don't know.
Because there are some games going on.
There's some games going on as we're recording right now. Let's see here. No, there's only 1 game. It's New York City and Charlotte.
Well, there's still 12 freaking games left in this league. I mean, in this season. Yeah. So it's like, dude, we're not down and out. We're still very much in that conversation. Could still very much fight for a home playoff game. It's not done. It ain't done. And Houston's above us. So you take points from them. That's freaking huge. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I want to talk about that Houston game in a bit here. And then I do want to get your thoughts on what you think Sporting Kansas City needs to do to make that run at the playoffs here. We're going to take our second break real quick. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
Hey, went and saw that new Indiana Jones, bro.
What'd you think?
Did you see it?
Not yet.
I liked it a lot.
I've heard some people kind of give it mixed reviews, but what I saw on Rotten Tomatoes was the audience score was significantly higher than the critic score.
That's all that matters to me most days, you know? Crystal Skull, audiences hated it.
Well,
Critics loved it.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
I did not like the Crystal
producer
Skull.
Nick thinks it's going to be bad. Squash your assumptions, bro. Squash them. A lot of fun.
Crystal Skull, I wanted to be good. Like, I remember hearing after Crystal Skull came out, there was like, oh, the critics at the Cannes Film Festival gave it a 10-minute standing ovation because they were so impressed with it. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be the best Indiana Jones. And then at the end, it's like, oh, there's aliens and they're sucking the soul out of Kate Blanchett. And I don't really know what's happening. And Shia LaBeouf is swinging with monkeys and it's a disaster. So,
I mean, you'll see this one, obviously, because you're a fan.
I will.
It's a fun one, man. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I mean, she's one of the most talented writer, director, producer out there. I mean, everything she's in is great. So
yeah,
she's good.
Well, cool. I'll have to go see it.
Yeah.
Let's talk Houston, and then I want to talk what the outlook is for the rest of the season. So Houston is a team that is similarly confusing, I would say, in a way that Sporting Kansas City is, because if you look at their goal differential, they're in the negatives. They're -2. They haven't scored a lot of goals this year. They've only scored 24 goals, which is 2 less than Sporting Kansas City has scored on the year. They've only let up 26 goals, which is 4 less than Sporting Kansas City. But Houston is weirdly difficult to play against when they're at home, even though there's like 17 people in the stands. They are 7-1-1 at home this year. 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Their only loss came on May 13th, I believe, against Seattle back then. But they're 1-8-2 on the road. So they are home juggernauts. They play a very defensive-minded game, especially when they're at home. How do you think SKC stacks up against the Dynamo?
I mean, it's an important win if we get it, right? I mean, you got to have it.
Huge.
I just feel that it's on the road, right?
You'd pull level with Houston if you could somehow get a road in points.
Yeah, and they've lost the last 2 games, right? Did you say that?
Yes, I didn't say that, but they have lost the last 2 games in league play. So they're on a little bit of a skid.
They've only conceded 3 goals at home.
Mm-hmm. So
I think we should drop 3 on them and, double that total.
The frustration with Houston is, Ben Olsen's their coach. He used to be the DC United coach, that Benny Ball, as they call it, which it's kind of like an ugly style, very defensive-minded style. If Houston gets the first goal in this game, they're going to pack it in, and they're going to, and that's where the frustration is going to set in for Sporting KC. Because when teams park the bus and create that low block against SKC, we have a very hard time breaking them down. And that's where we just start whipping in prayers of crosses and hoping that somebody gets ahead to it.
Yeah. I mean, so they're 7-0-1 when they score first.
Mm-hmm.
When they get scored on first, they're 1-9-1.
Yep.
So it's like, man, whoever gets the first goal in this game has a very good chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
They win when leading at halftime. They lose when trailing at halftime.
It's pretty simple. Sporting has to go out there and they got to score first.
Yeah.
And they cannot let off the gas once they score. Don't score one and then park the bus if you're SKC. Score one, then do it again. Get a couple and make sure that you're leaving a little bit of a margin for error.
Yeah, but they've been so, like you said, they pack it in a little bit. They've been so stout at home, man, with only allowing 3 goals in at home, but scoring 17 at home. That's a pretty crazy stat.
That's pretty wild.
You kind of wish this was an away game because they bad away.
Yeah, they are.
They're a -16 goal differential with their away games, which is just bananas.
So that means that they're +14 at home, which is wild.
Yeah.
This is a very important game.
You know, we're 4-0-0 when Fontas and Rosero start.
Are we? I did not realize that. That's interesting because there's so much frustration with both of those players individually at times. But
they're a great pairing, though, man. They're a great pairing. I like them.
I think the key to this game, honestly, it's going to be in the midfield. Can Sporting KC's midfield dominate Houston's midfield? And Houston, they have Hector Herrera, although I think he didn't play last week because he was injured or had an illness of some sort. He's not young. He's 33 years old, which for a soccer player in the midfield is not young anymore. But he's an MLS all-star caliber player. He's a very good player. Can Sporting's midfield slow down Herrera and the rest of the Dynamo midfielders if Sporting wins the midfield battle and can create chances up the middle of the field like they did last week against Vancouver? I feel like we can go in there and get a result. A win would be great. A result would be something. But
I really like our wingers too, man. I've been enjoying seeing Daniel Shallowy on this tear. The dude's been like freaking lawnmower out there, man, but not like an electric one. He ain't running out of gas. He's charged up and going for the duration. I just read that he leads all MLS players with the most minutes played this year.
It's not surprising.
And he's the only player to start 22 matches this season.
Well, I think we're the only team to also have played 22 matches, so that helps. But
good point. Good point. What a terrible stat. What a terrible stat.
No,
that is so dumb.
No, it's great. I love it.
You're not wrong. That is so, dude. No, okay. Toronto has played 22 matches.
Well, they're a dumpster
So
fire.
between us and Toronto, terrible. Take it. No, this article failed. I'm out.
Quit.
Unbelievable. I'm doing Control Q. I'm out.
That's funny. No, but I mean, he is a workhorse, and he's been a workhorse all year.
He is 100%.
Peter Vermees was asked after the Vancouver game. He was like, "Hey, Sporting, you attacked pretty much down the left side exclusively to start. What was the thought behind that?" First two words out of Peter's mouth were just Daniel Shallowy. So the dude has confidence. I mean, Daniel didn't get on the score sheet, but he and Leibold are creating quite a good bit of chemistry there. And then you have Gadi Kinda on the field who makes all sorts of things happen. It's, there's options. So
it's fun, man.
This is
We've had a lot of home games too, by the way. So I'm excited to finally watch another away game.
Yeah, there's only, I think, after next Wednesday's game against RSL, there's only one more home game, I think, for a month, and it's a Leagues Cup game because that's when you get into that weird Leagues Cup break for, the second half of July and the first half of August.
Right.
Enjoy the games while you can. But I'm feeling okay about this game. It's just a question of, can Sporting KC force Houston into making the same type of mistakes they make on the road, just do it at home? And if Sporting KC's on, I think Sporting KC's a more talented team.
Could be interesting, man. Could be a lot of storylines here.
So let's talk about what Sporting needs to do to actually get into the playoffs. As we said, right now, we're 1 point out with 12 games left, but there are some teams ahead of us that have 1 game in hand. There are some teams like Vancouver that have as much as 3 games in hand. We have 6 home games and 6 away games left for our last 12 games over the regular season. Is there a line? I have some numbers in my mind of I think they have to win at least this many home games, and I think they have to draw or win at least this many road games. Do you have sort of if there are 12 games left, that means there's 36 possible points. I guess we can do it this way. 36 points left on the table. How many points do you think Sporting KC needs to get of those 36 to have a realistic chance to make it into the playoffs?
Okay, go right here. If they got all 36, they're not going to. That would give them 60. That's 60 total points. Mm-hmm. So is 50 a good something to shoot for? I mean, that you're talking 26 points, right? Is that over ambitious?
If you won all 6 home games and drew all 6 road games, that would not even be
that wouldn't
points,
even do
I don't
it
think.
Yeah, so I'm not here getting
you would have to win all 6 home games, win a road game, and then draw the rest of them. So that's where this gets tough. Is I think you probably have to win 5 of your last 6 home games. That's 15 points. Then if you draw 4 of your 6 road games, That's 4 more points. That's 19 points. That gets you from
43.
That's 43 points. That's probably right on that line. That's right on that playoff line. So you probably have to win 5 of your last 6 home games. Then you got to draw at least, 3, 4 of those road games and sneak a win somewhere to feel safe about getting in. It's not impossible.
Well,
it's not going to be easy.
It's pretty wild to think about. Fun speculation. I don't just want to squeeze in either. I don't want to play that stupid play-in game. I want to be in the damn thing. Like that 8 and 9 spot.
Yeah.
I don't even want to count it. Don't even shoot for that.
What do you think best case scenario is then? We're the West is pretty tight in some places, but what do you think best case scenario is in terms of where they could finish?
Well, a lot of these teams you're going to play here in the upcoming games. You're going to play Austin. You're going to play Houston. I know there's a San Jose on there. I know there's a couple Salt Lakes. You got a couple more St. Louis ones in there. So it's
that's the advantage. You have chances to make up significant ground on these teams when you play them.
100%. So, and they know that. Like I don't know. You say you look game to game, but you look ahead a little bit, right? To see, you want to map out the destination, the journey.
Yeah. You got to at least be able to say there is a path.
Yeah.
Once you identify, yep, there's a path. Okay, now let's take it one game at a time. Let's beat Houston. You beat Houston. Great. You're worth 3 points behind Houston. Now you're level with Houston on points. Okay. Now you have RSL is the next one. You were 3 points behind RSL if you beat Houston. You could potentially beat RSL and become level with points against RSL. There suddenly starts to become a path there.
This is where it can become fun to watch MLS as a whole, because then you can start rooting against certain teams that are ahead of you. Yeah. Or if 2 teams are playing that are ahead of you, you want to root for a draw or something. Yeah. It gets kind of fun in these days, these summer days.
It was fun on the 4th of July to watch El Tráfico at a sold-out Rose Bowl set the MLS attendance record, 90,000 fans or something like that. And the Galaxy pulled out a victory.
Atlanta's going to be pissed.
Yeah. And the Galaxy probably shouldn't have won that game, but they did. 2-1.
Definitely shouldn't have won that game. Hell no.
LAFC is in a little slide. Now, of course, when LAFC slides, they're still in 3rd place in the conference with 32 points.
Exactly.
But then they go and sell one of their, up-and-coming attacking players, Kwadwo Opoku, for $1.75 million in allocation money to Montreal. That happened right before we started recording here. So
yeah, pretty wild.
It's a wild league. The West is so congested between 4th place where RSL is and where Kansas City is in 10th place. It's only a 6-point gap.
Yeah.
There's lots that can happen. So
could jump up there, man. But could also drop down. Minnesota's creeping. Portland's creeping. Everyone, there's case to be made for the Western Conference being the worst conference. You look over and everyone else is kind of making their mark in the Eastern Conference and being consistent with their results. Whereas the Western Conference, you got you got defending MLS Cup champs losing to a crappy Galaxy side. So the consistency is all over the board in the West.
It is. So I don't know, but we'll see what happens against Houston. I'm excited to see where the Sporting case. Look, we're in the hunt, and after the first 10 games, we didn't think we'd be here in July in the hunt necessarily. So the fact that we can sit here and confidently say there's a chance, that's a good thing.
We were pretty scared. Something needed to happen, and it did. There was a little spark, and now you got us getting excited again. So come on, let's not let us down.
Yeah. So we'll see. I guess the only other big news in the league is are you seeing all these rumors about Inter Miami that are being thrown around with players that are being linked to this team?
I saw they got Martino now as their coach coming in.
Tata Martino.
Good buddy of Messi's.
Yep, coached him with Argentina. Also good buddy with Joseph Martinez. Coached him at Atlanta United when they won MLS Cup.
Coached Messi at Barcelona as well, right?
Barcelona and you're right. I forgot about Barcelona. And Argentina. Now there's links. I'm gonna throw some names out to you that are being linked currently with Inter Miami. Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, Sergio Ramos, Eden Hazard, Luis Suarez. Now
Chompers?
Chompers. A lot of these players are well past their prime, but it is pretty weird how
It's like they're putting together an all-star team.
An all-star team that would have been amazing in like 2017.
Sure.
But still, it is just interesting that how one man, the economy of Messi, comes to Inter Miami, and now all of a sudden you have Messi and friends who are just transporting from Europe potentially to Inter Miami. Now, I don't know how they could swing MLS rules to make all this happen. Like Jordi Alba's being talked about as a TAM player. Like there's not a world that should be happening. Busquets is probably going to be a TAM player. Ramos probably can't have, unless MLS was to do some shenanigans where they totally blew up the rule book in the middle of the season for Miami just because Messi said so, which maybe they would. They're not going to get all these players, but the fact that they're being linked to them is wild.
Insane. It's insanely wild. And it's like, dude, is this like Ice Cube's 3v3 basketball league? Where is it Ice Cube that put that together?
Yeah.
Okay. And all these like retired ball players are playing in it and
coming
shit.
out. Yep.
That's how this feels, man. The big three. There you go. Thanks, Nikki. Fucking big three, bro. They that's what this is. Bringing these all-stars in to play soccer in this inferior soccer league.
It's going to be wild because, I mean, if you look at conference standings, Miami is not good right now. So can Messi come in and bring his friends and make a difference? Like, I don't think that they're probably doing this to try to make noise this year. I mean, maybe Miami will go on a little run and try to do something, but
you say they're not good. They're bottom of the East. Like they're trash. They're Colorado trash.
They're pretty bad. They have 17 points through 20 games. They have a -11 goal differential. But, you know, again, they could go on a weird little run and make the playoffs. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if you get through to, 5 games left in the season and suddenly MLS is like, oh, actually, we've expanded the playoffs even more to get Lionel Messi in.
So I ask you, there is an international break coming when Messi comes to MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Will he even go play for his national team, or because coaches can block that shit too, man. They can say no.
There's no way Tata would block him. There's no way Inter Miami would say.
But why wouldn't he want to stay here and help this team make the playoffs?
I mean, I'm sure all of that's being worked out as we speak.
Does he need money? Does he need the national team money?
Well, if he needed money, he'd be playing in Saudi Arabia right now.
Exactly. So it's like he just wants to do something different. So why would you come to a league and then be like, cool, I'm gonna go play in Argentina for a bit?
Because it's like,
yeah, I know, but why would you? Wouldn't you want to come here and make a statement?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? So, I mean, Copa America is getting ready to be hosted here in the United States. So, maybe he wants to go play with the Argentina national team to get him ready for Copa America to come here play in his, potentially his home stadium in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Which is weird. So
pretty weird. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Supposedly he's going to be announced a few days before MLS All-Star, and July 21st will be likely his first game in the Leagues Cup.
That is so soon.
So it's almost the end. I mean, we're past 4th of July. We're more than halfway through this year. It's wild.
We're cooking.
So that's the big thing I got. Obviously, the U.S. men's national team plays Canada this weekend. They'll probably beat them if recent games are any indication. So
knockout games now, right?
It's knockout games. Yep. So we'll see if Jesus Ferreira can keep. There's only been I think one other player to have 3 hat tricks in a U.S. shirt, and it's Landon Donovan.
Yeah. You can have yourself a hell of a USA day on Sunday, man. You got the women play a World Cup tune-up against Wales at 3.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then the men play at 7.
Yep.
The knockout game. So I know what I'm doing Sunday.
It's going to be a fun day filled with soccer.
Hell yeah.
So, well, you got anything else for our good listeners, my friend?
No, man. Just the bad ones.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. Orange Eric, thank you again for leaving your 5-star rating and your review. If you want to go ahead and leave a 5-star rating and review like Eric did, go ahead and do so on Apple Podcasts, or you can leave a rating on Spotify, I think, as well. Make sure you follow us on Twitter while it still exists, and Instagram at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. And check us out on YouTube at the KCSN Soccer YouTube page. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
No, I'm Dan. He's Red Jimmy.